Could a tiny bird really change the destiny of an entire kingdom? How could a powerful queen, ruler of a wealthy nation, surrounded by soldiers, treasure, and unimaginable authority, suddenly begin questioning everything she believed about God? And how did a mysterious letter reach the most heavily guarded room in her palace, without a single guard seeing who delivered it? But perhaps the greatest question is this: why did Allah choose a tiny bird to begin a story that would ultimately transform an entire nation? Thousands of years ago, Prophet Suleiman, peace be upon him, commanded one of the most extraordinary armies ever described in the Quran. It included humans, jinn, and birds. Among them was a small hoopoe bird. One day, the bird suddenly disappeared. When Solomon asked, "Where is the hoopoe?" no one had an answer. Then, unexpectedly, the bird returned. But it had seen something no one else in Solomon's army knew about. It boldly declared, "I have learned something you do not know." What had it discovered? Far away, it had found a magnificent kingdom where people worshipped the sun instead of Allah. And at the center of that kingdom stood a remarkable woman, the Queen of Sheba, known in Islamic tradition as Bilqis. But this was only the beginning. A mysterious letter, a rejected treasure, a throne transported across hundreds of miles in an instant, and a palace floor so transparent that the queen believed she was walking through water. One by one, these astonishing events began to shatter everything she thought she knew. And eventually, the powerful queen would speak words that would change her life forever. But who was Bilqis really? And how did a queen who once bowed to the sun come to surrender herself completely to Allah? Tonight, we journey back into one of the most mysterious and powerful stories preserved in the Quran, where the wings of a tiny bird helped change the heart of a queen and the destiny of an entire kingdom. Welcome to Islamic Light Stories Television, where we journey through the corridors of history to uncover the profound mysteries that shape our faith and our future. Today, we step into an era unlike any other. This is not just a tale of ancient royalty. This is a mirror held up to our modern lives, a profound reflection on wealth, ego, and the breathtaking courage it takes to admit when we are entirely wrong. This is one of the most powerful Islamic inspirational stories ever recorded, a journey that tests the very limits of human perception. Imagine standing on a vast, sun-baked plain, where the horizon is swallowed by an army that defies human comprehension. The ground trembles, but not just beneath the boots of cavalry and infantry. Marching alongside mortal men are legions of unseen warriors, the Jinn, capable of tearing through fortresses in the blink of an eye. Ferocious predators of the wild stand in perfect, disciplined ranks, while the sky above is darkened by an immense canopy of falcons, hawks, and eagles flying in flawless formation. At the helm of this unstoppable force stands a man who commands the wind itself, Prophet Suleiman. His kingdom is a testament to the limitless power of Allah, a realm so magnificent that it blurs the line between the seen and the unseen world, a stark reminder of the realities we will all face in the end times. Yet, within this awe-inspiring display of supreme dominance, the greatest lesson of courage and faith in Quran begins with something incredibly small. It begins with a tiny bird. During a meticulous inspection of his magnificent ranks, Prophet Suleiman noticed an absence in the sky. The hoopoe bird, known as the Hudhud, was missing. In an army where discipline was absolute, the absence of this tiny scout was a severe breach of protocol. Suleiman spoke with unwavering authority, demanding a clear justification for the bird's disappearance, lest it face severe consequences. The tension in the air was palpable, but when the Hudhud finally descended from the clouds, exhausted and covered in the dust of 1,000 miles, it did not tremble in fear. Instead, it carried a heavy burden in its heart, a secret so immense that it looked the most powerful king on earth in the eye, and declared that it had discovered something even Suleiman did not know. The tiny bird had flown over the vast, endless deserts to the distant land of Saba, a kingdom drowning in absolute wealth and prosperity. There, the Hudhud witnessed a society governed by a brilliant and powerful woman, Queen Bilqis. She possessed a magnificent throne, a thriving economy, and an unshakable empire. But as the bird watched the people of Saba gather in their grand ceremonial squares, a tragic reality unfolded. The queen and her entire nation bowed down, pressing their foreheads to the earth in worship of the blazing sun. They had abandoned the creator of the heavens and the earth to prostrate before a mere creation. The deception of this world had made their misguided actions appear beautiful to them. The Hudhud, with a heart full of pure iman, could not comprehend how a ruler blessed with such extraordinary intellect and beauty could be so spiritually blind. Prophet Suleiman did not react with reckless anger. He did not immediately unleash his unstoppable forces upon Saba. He demonstrated the ultimate justice and wisdom by choosing the path of truth and investigation. He drafted a letter, sealed it with his royal emblem, and commanded the Hudhud to drop it directly into the heavily guarded chambers of Queen Bilqis. Imagine the chilling suspense that gripped the queen when she awoke in her impenetrable, heavily guarded sanctuary, only to find a foreign letter resting silently beside her. It was a terrifying realization that her security was an illusion. The letter was profound in its simplicity. It began in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, commanding her to leave her arrogance behind and come to him in peaceful submission. Bilqis was a ruler of deep intellect. When she gathered her royal council, her generals aggressively demanded war, boasting of their mighty warriors and lethal strength. But Bilqis understood the devastating cost of conflict. She knew that when kings invade, they shatter cities and humiliate the honorable. Hoping to test the true intentions of this mysterious Suleiman, she chose diplomacy. She dispatched a grand caravan laden with unimaginable treasures, chests overflowing with pure gold, dazzling rubies, flawless emeralds, and the rarest perfumes. She believed, as most people do even today, that every man has a price. She thought wealth could shield her from the truth. When the royal caravan of Saba arrived in Jerusalem, they were utterly paralyzed by what they saw. The city was a masterpiece of divine architecture, patrolled by forces that defied nature itself. But the true shock came when they presented their priceless treasures to Prophet Suleiman. Any ordinary king would have celebrated. But Suleiman looked at the glittering gold with absolute indifference. He issued a response that shattered their worldly worldview. He asked if they truly believed they could buy him with worldly wealth, when what Allah had given him was infinitely superior to all the gold in the earth. He decisively rejected the gifts, sending the messengers back in a state of profound awe and silent terror. He made it undeniably clear that the truth of the Almighty is never for sale. Realizing that she was dealing with a force beyond human capability, Bilqis set out toward Jerusalem herself. But Suleiman wanted to dismantle the walls around her heart before she even arrived. In a moment that echoes the terrifying and sudden shifts we associate with the signs of Qiyamah, Suleiman asked his court who could bring the queen's magnificent throne from Yemen to Jerusalem before she arrived. A mighty Ifrit from the Jinn claimed he could bring it before the meeting ended. But then a righteous servant, a man who possessed deep knowledge of the book, stepped forward and said he would bring it before Suleiman could even blink his eye. In an instant, the massive, heavily fortified throne of Saba materialized before them. It was a staggering miracle, proving that true power lies not in worldly armies, but in the divine permission of Allah. Suleiman ordered the throne to be slightly altered, a brilliant psychological test for the arriving queen. When Bilqis finally entered the grand halls of Jerusalem, she was asked if this was her throne. Her response was a masterpiece of cautious wisdom. She did not blindly confirm or arrogantly deny. She simply said, "It seems to be the same." She was a woman who did not let pride force her into pretending she knew everything. But the ultimate breaking point, the moment that would define her soul forever, was yet to come. Suleiman invited her to enter a spectacular courtyard. As Bilqis stepped forward, she looked down and saw what appeared to be a deep, crystal-clear pool of water. Instinctively, she lifted the edges of her luxurious gown to prevent it from getting wet. But as her bare foot touched the surface, there was no splash, there was no ripple. The floor was made of flawlessly polished, transparent glass, with actual water flowing beneath it. In that split second, The reality of Queen Bilqis completely collapsed. She froze. The very eyes she had trusted her entire life had deceived her. The intellect she relied on had failed her. If her own eyes could trick her into believing glass was water, how could she possibly trust her belief that the sun was God? In that breathtaking moment of profound realization, all her wealth, her majestic kingdom, and her royal pride faded into nothingness. She did not make excuses. She did not blame her ancestors or her society. With a heart trembling with newfound iman, she spoke words that the Quran immortalized for all of eternity. She said, "My Lord, I have truly wronged myself, and I submit together with Suleiman to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds." She did not submit to a king, she submitted to the Creator. The greatest victory in this story was not the movement of a throne or the display of a glass palace. The greatest miracle was a powerful human being finding the terrifying courage to say, "I was wrong." As we close this chapter on Islamic Light Stories television, we must ask ourselves the most difficult question of all. What is the sun that you are bowing down to today? We may not worship the literal sun in the sky, but our hearts often prostrate to the pursuit of money, the obsession with status, the desperate need for human approval, and the dark whispers of our own desires. We build our own glass palaces, walking through life deeply convinced that our illusions are real. We chase after things that glitter, completely forgetting the eternal reality of the hereafter. Bilqis was given a sign, and she had the bravery to change her entire existence in a single heartbeat. Allah sends us signs every single day through a verse we hear, a sudden hardship, or a quiet moment of reflection. Will you let your pride blind you, or will you have the courage of the Queen of Saba to admit your mistakes and turn back to the Creator before your time runs out? May Allah grant us a heart that recognizes the truth when it appears, and the strength to shatter the illusions that keep us away from His eternal light. Thank you for watching Islamic Light Stories television. Keep your heart awake, your faith unshakable, and never stop seeking the divine truth.